The European Union has failed to reach the unanimity necessary to sanction Georgian officials and people linked to the ruling Georgian Dream party. That is despite allegations against them of rigging the election and a violent crackdown on protesters. Now, one of the countries in the EU which has been pushing most hard and most loudly for sanctions against the Georgian officials is Estonia, and I'm joined now by Foreign Minister Margus Tsahkna, who is at a meeting of EU foreign ministers. So, Minister, this failure to reach agreements, it was blocked by at least one country that we know of, Hungary. Is that a historic failure for the EU? Is the EU failing the Georgian people?
No, it was not the failure in the meaning. It was a normal situation about the European Union, and we were talking about the persons who are responsible for the violence against the peaceful demonstrators. So we were not able to have a consensus among all the 27 countries. But it happens here in Brussels and in the EU. But what I do hope that all the other countries, they will join the initiative that the Baltic states did. Estonia has listed 25 persons based on the violence and organized violence against the peaceful demonstrations, including the Prime Minister and Ivanishvili, who is the head of the Georgian Dream. I think that these kind of sanctions, they will come based on the national regimes. But what we agreed all as a European Union was the ban for the diplomatic and service passports owners to European Union. And it is pretty significant step and also very symbolic that we have not left the Georgian people who has all the rights to fight for the democratic values. This is very important. But also all the other proposals what the Commission made in the proposals paper in June, they are on the table. About the ban for the visa liberation for all the Georgians if the regime will continue the way they have taken and violence against the peaceful people, and also the many other measures what we have listed. So it was just the first meeting of EU, and I'm really happy about this, the decision about diplomatic passports and also the service passports. But all other nations and governments, they can do their national measures.
So what you're saying is essentially that member states which have not yet imposed sanctions should go out with the EU, so should kind of abandon this effort to make joint sanctions and to go it on their own, as Estonia has done. And you also mentioned there are some measures upcoming. Now, you've been sitting in a room with the Hungarian foreign minister. He has a very different view from you. He says that basically these EU criticism of Georgian Dream is nothing more than a kind of political witch hunt and that there is no problem in Georgia. How do you respond to him?
I've been sitting in this room already close to 2 years with the same colleague from Hungary, so they have their own position. Probably mostly they are playing not in our team, maybe with somebody else. So it's not.
Who else? Who do you mean?
You can guess. But the case is that the most important thing is that we will give the message to Georgian people. And if all the other nations in the European Union will do that, it's good enough, I think. But the common understanding is there, that it's not only about the elections anymore, which we are very clear as Estonians that these elections were not fair and honest and democratical. But it's a question already about the criminal actions against the peaceful people on the streets. It's about the regime things. And this is, I think that the EU will have further steps to go.
And I'll spell it out. I mean, the accusation there is that Hungary has been essentially voicing views which might be more linked to Russia than the European Union. That's obviously an accusation that it denies. What we've seen taking place in Georgia, playing out over the last few weeks, do you see it as a win for Moscow?
Of course, I see it. And also the Georgian Dream or the authorities, they blamed Estonia and Lithuania be a part of Soviet influence, and somehow this is nonsense. So we see exactly what kind of Kremlin talking points the Georgian regime right now is holding, and if whoever is supporting actually the Kremlin narrative and actions as well, it's very clear. So, but we need to support Georgian people, and we'll do that.
Supporting Georgian people, Georgia was on a path towards joining the European Union. That's a path that tends to be very long and winding, but now there's been a clear blockage. Is that idea of Georgia one day joining this bloc, sitting at the table with you and your fellow ministers, is that simply dead in the water? Is that a dream which can no longer survive?
We have blocked this way right now because of not Georgian people's will, but based on the Georgian Dream or the authorities which are there right now. And of course, for Georgian people, the way is opened. So, and even this path has written into the Georgian constitution. So it's there. But the question is that if the Georgian Dream leaders, they have just lied to Georgian people and also for European Union, because we have fulfilled all the promises what we have given, gave to Georgian people from European side. So, and they must be sure that the European Union is waiting them.
And what concretely would need to change in order for that path to be able to reopen?
Actually, we had very clear positions and agreements about 9-step approach, and of course the violence against the people must be finished, and also democratic elections and everything like this. But we are very far from this point, unfortunately.
Thank you very much. That's Margus Tsahkna, who is the Estonian Foreign Minister. Thank you for speaking to DW.